Hey, I'm Jim Weber in the Fox 13 Weather Center. Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. So we are focusing in on Hurricane Florence. Although there's a lot of activity going on in the tropics, this is the one that requires that immediate attention. And as we've gone through the overnight hours, Florence has undergone an eyewall replacement cycle. That's why as you look at this view, you're seeing that very ragged eyewall structure right now. Now, the good news in that is it loses some of the intensity as this happens. The bad news is later on this afternoon, it's going to really reform that eye and start to regain any of that intensity that it lost. All signs are with the low wind shear and the warm waters, it should have no issues in doing just that. So right now, winds are at 130 miles an hour, 26.7, 65.3, and it's moving to the west-northwest at 16 miles an hour. Forecast track really hasn't changed much over the past several days. Still looking at that major hurricane making landfall across the Carolina coastline. Anywhere from North to South Carolina, you have to continue to watch this. It looks like most likely the landfall is going to be somewhere along the North Carolina coastline, but you still have to watch this mainly because it does look like once this makes landfall, it's going to really slow down and tend to meander for many days. So we have a number of threats that we're going to be dealing with. We've got the very strong winds. You have the very significant storm surge that will be working its way onshore, and then as it slows down, the tremendous amounts of rain that will fall all the way through the weekend and into the first part of next week. Now, we do have a hurricane watch that goes from the North Carolina, Virginia border all the way down to Edisto Beach in South Carolina. And also, you're looking at that storm surge forecast, which is just absolutely amazing to look at this point. You can see throughout those sounds in North Carolina, we are looking anywhere from between about a 10 to 15-foot storm surge possibility. And even as you head down towards Wilmington, that is between about 10 to 12 feet. Along that coastline, anywhere from 8 to 10 feet. This will obviously be changing back and forth, all dependent on the exact intensity and the exact track that this storm takes. Anything to the right of the center, that's where you're dealing with the storm surge. If you're to the left of the center, it's actually going to push the water away from the coastline. So we'll be watching that extremely closely as we go through the coming days. Also, as you look at the computer models, they're all in really good agreement, but the one interesting little aspect that you're seeing is right as these are getting towards the coastline, you're starting to see them kind of zigging and zagging, and that is that indication of that slower forward motion. Now, some of the models are indicating this could actually stall right near the coastline. If something like that were to happen, that could be extremely bad news along the coastline, where you can see that yellow shade across North and South Carolina. We are looking at rainfall totals between 10, 15. In some cases, we could see some isolated amounts over 30, approaching 40 inches of rain. Now, don't really focus in on those exact totals. What you have to keep in your mind right now is we could be looking at some extremely dangerous and life-threatening rainfall amounts coming from this storm as we go through the next several days. Now, we're going to keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.